How do I write 1/3 as a factor? Let's go. How do I write 1/3 as a factor? 3x minus 1, correct. The denominator? The denominator goes in front of the x and minus, and then the numerator. If it was a negative 1/3, then it would have been 3x plus 1, right? And then for the other two, the complex ones or the irrational ones, we just put x minus in front of them. Okay, so that's how we start. Always x minus in front. Okay, again, fractions, take the denominator and put it in front of the x, and then minus whatever the numerator is. Now, remember, these conjugates, 2 plus the square root of 5 and 2 minus the square root of 5, you have to multiply those together first so that your radicals will get eliminated, all right? And then you can multiply that answer by the 3x minus 1 to get the polynomial that goes with those 3 zeros, okay? So I'm going to go x times x, x times negative 2, and x times negative radical 5. And then negative 2 times x, negative 2 times negative 2, and negative 2 times negative radical 5 is positive 2 radical 5. And then I go radical 5 times x, which is positive x radical 5. And radical 5 times negative 2 is negative 2 radical 5. And negative radical 5, or positive radical 5 times a negative radical 5 is a negative square root of 25. Those cancel and those cancel. What's the square root of 25? 5. So that's a negative 5 then, right here. Okay? Not very difficult, right? Now just combine your like terms. Caleb.
Would it be alright if you distributed the 3x minus 1 into the second?
No.
First, that's not okay?
No.
I did my entire homework wrong.
Do these two together so that these radicals go away. It makes it much easier for you. Okay? So this answer would be x squared minus 4x minus 1 times the 3x minus 1. Okay? Now it doesn't have any radicals, no fractions, any of that stuff for you. Now put the 3x minus 1 times that. So 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times negative 4x is negative 12x squared. And 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. Then negative 1 times x squared is negative 1x squared. Negative 1 times negative 4x is a positive 4x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive 1. So our answer, our polynomial with those 3 zeros that you were given is 3x cubed minus 13x squared plus 1x plus 1. If I were to put that into my calculator and look at the graph, it's going to cross the x-axis at the 1/3, at the 2 plus the square root of 5, and the 2 minus the square root of 5. Again, you would find those as decimal numbers on your calculator, which is okay. Okay, questions on any part of that warm-up? Okay, so you did have homework, which was page 196, I believe, right? And the numbers that you were supposed to do were what? 2, 4, 6, and 8, right? Number 12, and then 20 to 24 even. And I don't know where it went, but I'll get it back up on Canvas. All right? So number 2, there were 3 zeros you should find. -6 and -2, the only ones, but one of them worked twice. I'm not sure which one worked twice. Because I don't have a picture of the graph of it. One of it bounces off, so you know it works twice, an even number of times. Number 4, there's 6 zeros. -2, actually, if you wrote it as one big fraction, -4 plus the square root of 14 all over 2, and -4 minus the square root of 14 all over 2, and then 0. 0 must work 4 times. Must have bounced off the 0. Number 6 has 4 zeros. -5 is one of them. +5 is one. -5 plus 5i radical 3 all over 2. And -5 minus 5i radical 3 over 2. Number 8, there's 4 of them. -5, -3, 1, and 2. You can see those. Again, all of those you can do on your calculator. Then we jump to number 12. And there was a -1 and a +2, all you could see. So you had to do that synthetic division. 3i and -3i were the other two. We'll go over that one to remind you how to do that. All right, so we've got h of x instead of f of x this time. We're just going to put this in our calculator. So maybe for practice, you should put it in your calculator. See what it looks like. Let's make sure I look at the right one. -9x minus 18. All right, so that's all I'm going to do is put that in my calculator. X to the 4th minus x to the 3rd plus 7x squared minus 9x minus 8. And your graph. I'm going to take a look at what's happening. It only goes through 2 spots. And I'm expecting 4 because my degree is 4 of the polynomial. Okay, so I'm going to go to my table. Looks like a -1 and a +2, but I'm going to make sure. So I'll go second graph for the table, and that's correct. -1 has a 0 and +2 has a 0. Okay, right there and right there. So again, since it has a degree of 4, I know there's 2 other zeros that I can't see. So they're going to be imaginary zeros. So I'm going to have to use synthetic division to simplify the original polynomial. Okay? We all know how to do synthetic division, right? Does it matter if I start with -1 in synthetic or the 2? No, it doesn't matter. Okay? So I'll just start with the -1. We got 1 for the x to the 4th, -1 for x cubed, 7, -9, and -18. Didn't have to add any zeros. -1 times 1 is -1. Add those, you get -2. -1 times -2 is +2, so add those and you get 9. -1 times 9 is -9, and you add those, you get -18. -1 times -18 is +18, and you get 0, which is what you're supposed to get, right? And then put 2 in here, because that's the other 0 the calculator gave us. And 2 times 1 is 2. When I add those, I get 0. And 2 times 0 is 0. When I add those, I get 9. 2 times 9 is 18, and I get the 0. All right, so remember, this started out as x to the 4th. After I reduced it once, it was x cubed, and now after I reduced it the second time, it's x squared. So this is my a value, my b value, and my c value for the quadratic formula. But since the b value is 0, do I have to use the quadratic formula? No. So just write x squared plus 9 x squared plus 9 equals 0, and solve that equation. So all you're going to do is subtract 9 and get x squared equals -9. And then what do I do to get x? Just square root it, right? And the square root of -9 is plus or minus what? 3i, right? So there's my other two zeros, which are imaginary, which we figured was going to happen, right? So my answers are -1, +2, 3i, and -3i. Okay, so that's a problem that does everything we needed to do to find the zeros. Okay, and that's what we worked on Thursday night. Do we have school Thursday?
No.
Okay, so we did that Wednesday night. We did have school Thursday, and then Friday we talked about the warm-up type problem. Okay, which is the rest of your homework, 20 to 24. For number 20, your polynomial is x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. 22 is x cubed minus 12x squared plus 46x minus 52. 24 is x cubed minus 7x squared plus 13x minus 3. Any questions on any of those three? Get it right. This one. All right, let's practice another one like the warm-up. All right, so I'm going to give you three zeros, and I want you to find the polynomial that goes with those three zeros, please. So this is like your warm-up problem. Did somebody put this, one of these calculators on my desk this morning? One of you guys?
The horse is taking stride. I was like, why are you so grateful?
Why are you guys so giggly today? Caleb and Vince. Well, let's do some work.
That's just like a kind of a mental block. Actively good.
You didn't watch me do the drum. You started it, right? I'll do that with the other two. I gotta put an X minus in front. Because that's the rules.
You trying to break the rules, Jordan? You're a rule follower.
I know, you can't call it.
Yeah.
Multiply whatever you get from this. It's all the eyes.
X times all three of them.
You understand that.
Good start.
But I will give you my marinade.
No, you put the X minus 4 plus I. Put X minus in front of 4 plus I and X minus in front of 4 minus.
How do you combine X I? You just
I.
and then what? Oh yeah, and then it's gonna be I squared and then there's
And then you sort of like, yeah.
Alright, yeah. I don't even know how to start it.
Positive X times positive I.
They would flip the sign to a square. So if it's like, for example, -4, all I. If it's like -y squared, for example, the square and I cancel and then we plus 1. It's just like, oh, it's just an I. I thought X squared minus 1/4. If you can't combine it, then
Big joke.
oh, if it's I squared, but get rid of I squared, and then just switch the sign of but it says the number. Is that right, Bruce?
This is my XI, that is.
That's not like I used to have a brisket on my BS. I need to find my old BS sign, look at all the photos. Oh, mine was in the audio file.
That's like minus or negative 1.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, you forgot to put X minus in front.
That's it.
X minus there,
So
right?
X minus two is X minus
Put X minus in front of all the. Because I said so. Why are you just ignoring me?
I don't
even know where to start.
Yeah, I have X minus three and then X squared.
Young man.
What? Then you.
Put X minus in front of it.
Close it. Good. Identity. That way you're making it back. When you put the X minus in front, you're making it back. You multiply the factors. With an answer. X minus 3. If it was negative 3, then do X minus negative.
What's his name?
You're done.
What's her name?
Josh.
That's it. This polynomial has these 3 zeros. 3, 4 plus 9, 4 minus. If you graph it, I want to see it.
You're fine. I usually don't get anything until we actually do the practice.
Where were you born?
I think I'm going to.
The ice cream, these two are gone, that would be, okay, that's supposed to be a plus four.
So, no,
Maybe 8, because the ice cream. So when you add 4i plus 4i, pretty much 8i squared. The I would be negative 8. That might be correct up there. And then on the end should be negative I squared, which is so. And I got I can't watch it.
600.
what is?
It's not your first time ever.
Because that's stuff is everywhere. You play multiplayer?
I barely.
All out the wall. I just can't stop the wall.
All right. Let's go through this. Again, you start each factor by writing x minus. That turns it into a factor instead of a 0. Okay? You're given the zeros. To turn them into factors, you just put x minus in front of them. That's all I did. Okay? Now, you have to multiply these two together first. That way, what's going to happen to the i's?
They go away.
They'll go away for you. Right? So, when I do x times these 3, I get x squared minus 4x minus ix. When I go negative 4 times those 3, I get negative 4x plus 16 plus 4i. A negative times a negative is a positive. You guys should know that, right? When I multiply I times all 3, I get a positive ix, and those cancel. I get a negative 4i, and those cancel. And I get a negative. Again, what's in front of these i's? What number? We never write it. 1. So it's a negative 1 I squared, right? Okay. So this problem here, this problem is negative 1 times negative 1 because I squared equals negative 1, right? What is negative 1 times negative 1? Positive 1. Okay? That's why I put it under the 16, because I know it's going to turn in to a whole number. So that it's a number that I can combine together, right? Numbers I can combine. So this green box answer is x squared minus 8x plus 17. Now I have to multiply it by the x minus 3 to finish it up. Questions up to this point? Again, you guys know how to distribute and FOIL stuff. Just take your time, okay? It's not that difficult. It just takes a little time. Now, to finish up, I'm gonna go x times all three and negative 3 times all three. All right? So I'll have 6 terms, and then any like terms I'll combine. All right, so x times x squared is x cubed. X times negative 8x is negative 8x squared. X times 17 is 17x. Negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times negative 8x is a positive 24x. And negative 3 times positive 17 is a negative 51. And then I just combine like terms. So my polynomial with those 3 zeros that you were given is x cubed minus 11x squared plus, what's that, 41? And minus 51. Get it, Caleb?
Yeah.
Good. Good job. Collins, did you get it?
Yeah.
Good. If you didn't, did you see what you did wrong? That's all that matters.
I did them.
That you were close, right, Ben?
Close came halfway there.
Good.
The only thing I did wrong was pads.
Questions on how to do these now?
Yes.
Do we understand? Okay. And remember, if I put this in my calculator, okay, looking at the zeros, what am I going to see on my calculator? You're just going to see it go through what number? The 3, right? That's all you're going to see. You're just going to see it go through the 3. You won't see these. Why?
Imaginary.
They're imaginary. Okay? So if we were going the other way, if you were given the polynomial first, all you'd see is your graph go through the 3. You'd have to do synthetic division with the 3, and then solve that quadratic formula to get the 4 plus I and the 4 minus I. Okay? So that's the last section that we have to do that we're going to get ready for the quiz. So tomorrow I'm going to give you, there's no homework tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to give you a practice quiz that you can work on in class. We'll go over it Wednesday, and then our quiz is scheduled for Thursday. All right? Any questions? All right. When you can't see, you know there's more. If you were given this, you know there's 3 zeros, right? When you look at the graph, Caleb?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So,
I just wanted to make sure.
if you only see 1, or if there's 4 zeros, you only see 2, you're going to have to do synthetic division to simplify your polynomial so that you can figure out the imaginary one.
You always use quadratic formula?
Yes. Unless you get the 0 like we did on that problem here. If your b is 0, like this was, you don't have to do quadratic formula then, because it's a lot quicker doing it this, just taking the square root of both sides. But you can still use quadratic if you want. You get the same answers.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Okay, good job today. Thanks for working.